for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud, and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome, everyone. We have the best show today. I'm so excited. We've got with us Khaliah O. Guillory. She's the CEO and founder of Nap Bar, and she is, it's sort of an irony, but maybe it's totally believable and related. But she's the highest energy person I've ever met. It seems like she would probably never sleep, but maybe the truth is she's figured out how to sleep all that she needs as the CEO of Nap Bar. Khaliah, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Devin, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, we're just thrilled. You're great. Now, let's be honest. You are just a tremendous high energy person. How did you come up with napping? What's the connection between your energy and napping?
It's the naps. It's the naps and restorative sleep. So, oftentimes people ask me like, "Hey, how do you keep your energy up?" It's because I make sure that I have set boundaries around my sleep schedule, my sleep hygiene, as well as taking a nap every day. And Devin, we both know as entrepreneurs that if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. So, one of the things that I did early on, before Nap Bar was even a thought, I would schedule my naps. Even when I was working in corporate America, I had a block a window and people knew like, hey, we can't, KG's not available because from between 3 and 3:30, she's taking her nap in an unused conference room or even in her car in the garage. She's somewhere napping, and I would come back and tackle the rest of the day.
That's it's fascinating, but there's good data on this, right? Napping isn't just something that works for Khaliah, right? This works for people, right?
It works for everybody because there's sleepy humans everywhere. And if I could get nerdy just for a second, 1 out of every 2 Americans are sleep deprived or have sleep disorders, and they don't even know it. And they know it because they are always tired, but they don't know what's causing it. And so the other data around this, around napping specifically, came from a stat that I uncovered when I was researching, doing my due diligence, trying to figure out if I was going to leave my cushy corporate job to do Nap Bar, right? I found this stat from NASA, and it was a study that they conducted on sleepy military pilots and astronauts. And they found that a 26-minute nap, Devin, it increased their productivity by up to 34% and their alertness by 54%. Now, this whole time, we have this stigma around napping that you're considered lazy if you do it. But at that moment, I was like, man, I've been telling people all my life, this is why I've been so productive, because I've been an avid napper my entire life. And when I say avid napper, I mean it. I mean that I was the kid in kindergarten when the teacher said, go and get your red and blue mat. I got my mat, I was in my spot, and I was out. She didn't have to fight with me. And I just continued to nap. I earned a Division I scholarship to play basketball at the University of Central Florida, go Knights. And I really there learned the art of a good power nap. I can lay down and in 10 minutes, wake up and feel refreshed and ready to go. And I just continued that throughout my career in corporate America.
Well, this is clearly laid a foundation for you to build Nap Bar, and you're already having tremendous success with Nap Bar. Tell us a little bit more about what it is and how things are going.
Yeah, Nap Bar is this really cool, eco-friendly luxury rest sanctuary. We were just informed that we're the first Black queer woman-owned luxury sleep suite in the entire world. We are just rocking and rolling. We secured a 10-year contract to open up at George Bush Intercontinental Airport here in Houston, Texas. And we are beyond excited about that because the journey of Nap Bar, it hasn't been necessarily an easy one. The timing of it hasn't been ideal. And what I mean by that is that when I got this idea, because I was carpooling into the city, into the heart of the city with a best friend, and it was around my nap time, and I kept looking at my watch, and she said, KG, why do you keep looking at your watch? There's nowhere else for us to go. We don't have anywhere to be. And I said, well, it's my nap time and you're in the car and this is where I would usually nap and this could get a little weird. And she said, well, hey, you should Google naps in Houston. There's surely a place for you to pop in. Well, Devin, 30 seconds later, I quickly realized that such a place did not exist. And I was disappointed, right? And I looked over at her and I said, can you believe there's no place that exists in Houston of all places? And she said, you should create it. And I'm thinking, nah, there's no way who's going to pay me to do something that I could do at home, right? This is pre-pandemic. This is 2018. And so that night, I just tossed and turned, did some research. And then the next day I thought like, man, this could be a viable business. And I could be the person that do it. I'm a professional napper. And it just kicked off from there. I retired from corporate America in November of 2018 as the VP of strategy there, and took a sabbatical after that during the holidays. In January 2019, we hit the ground running. I did a 5-month beta test. Went through 3 different rounds of our MVP, got it right, did a really cool case study with UT Health here in Houston on postpartum moms and the benefits of napping from a mental stressor standpoint. And then we were ready to go. We opened up our first storefront inside the Guillory Mall here in Houston, generated revenue on day 1, and then March 2020 rolled around. Dun, dun, dun. And so, that shut us down, but I vowed to myself that I was not going back to corporate America. I knew that this was something that I needed to do, because when I was in corporate America, I would wake up and have this heaviness on my chest. And I knew at that moment that I've been obsessed with getting to the next rung on the ladder, that I didn't realize I was at the intersection where my satisfaction no longer met my contribution. So Nap Bar was it for me. And, from there, we just continued. I developed the suite, the Meta Snooze virtual reality experience that we own the licensing to. That was during the pandemic. I became a certified sleep coach during the pandemic, and we were awarded that 10-year contract during the pandemic. And so it has definitely been a wild ride. And, when I really think about it and I'm still and I'm quiet and I'm meditating, it really has been a rewarding journey, because, outside of the pandemic, we were stagnant. No one was calling to come to a nap bar, and everyone was at home napping at their own room. So for us to be only open for 5 months before the pandemic hit, and then to earn a 10-year contract during the pandemic is almost unheard of in the present.
Well, it is so exciting to see what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about all the different models for the business. I think that it kind of starts maybe fundamentally with an almost traditional emergency rest stop at an airport, right? Where you might get a long layover. You can go find a sanctuary and rest for an hour or overnight even. But where else, how's that going, and where else do you see this growing beyond airports?
You're definitely right. It's more than just a rest stop. It's more than just a rest stop at the airport. This is your home away from home. We are partnering up with West M to provide the decor for the space, so you really truly can feel like you're at home away from home. There will be bamboo pajamas available to purchase or to rent as well. We recently inked a retail agreement with Lululemon, so we'll be authorized to carry Lululemon gear inside the space at the airport. And it also we've been approved to customize it with the Nap Bar logo and some of our catchphrases like invest and rest. And I mean, it's just been an entire ride and journey. Now when you think about the scalability model, I think the virtual reality piece can have a completely different lane on its own. We're in conversation with some airline carriers now to offer that experience exclusively for their travelers in business class, and also looking at scaling into hospitals and college campuses and sporting venues. Mark Cuban recently, and I won't say recently, a couple of months ago, he made a post about building out a metroplex in Dallas that included sleep suites. And I dropped in his DM. I said, hey, I'm your girl. Hey, I'm right up the street. We could do this together. And, so I think people are now catching on. Unfortunately, the pandemic was bitter because we lost a lot of loved ones, but it was sweet for me because I think now Americans specifically are really prioritizing their rest and really being obsessed with getting restorative sleep at night. So, folks who weren't answering my call pre-pandemic are now definitely calling me post-pandemic.
So one of the cool things that you're doing right now is to raise money. You got a crowdfund campaign going on WeFunder. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, We Funder is I feel like there are these really cool and dope human beings that are putting on and strapping on their capes to make sure that founders like myself are being seen and being heard. That's very important when you think about a startup. And when you also think about and consider that, studies and data shows that less than 1% of VC funding goes to Black women, Black founders. So this WeFunder campaign is more than just a campaign for me. It's a vehicle for me to be visible. It's a vehicle for Nap Bar to be visible, and in a way for us to be exposed to people, places and spaces all across the country, to be able to get exposed to Nap Bar and really truly joining the movement to prioritize our rest.
Now, it is a cool opportunity for our viewers to go check out and learn more. And there's a short link. There's with a QR code there on the screen for those of you who are watching. S4G.biz/NAP will get you quickly to the WeFunder page and allow you to check out the offering there and learn more about it. Folks, we are really fortunate today. We've had the opportunity to be visiting with Khaliah O, who is the CEO and founder of Nap Bar, where she's just an amazing human being. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to her about her superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
You can get in on the ground floor to help fix the climate crisis for as little as $100. Pause now to scan the QR code to get started, or visit s4g.biz/raisegreen. You can beat a green at Raise Green.
Want to learn from the world's great change makers? Find your superpower. Subscribe to the Superpowers for Good newsletter at superpowersforgood.com. Make your strengths into superpowers that will change the world. Join the super crowd today. Superpowers4good.com.
Hope to raise money from the impact crowd. Good investors are as interested in community, social or environmental impact as you. Connect with Funding Hope, an SEC-registered FINRA member crowdfunding portal, to learn how to raise capital from the impact crowd. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with Khaliah O. She is the CEO and founder of Nap Bar. It's a high-potential, fast-growing company that is coincidentally raising capital on WeFunder right now. And we've been talking to her about all of that, but we're going to shift gears now to talk to her about her superpower. Khaliah, you are just such an impressive human being. Just bring such a positive energy to every room you're in. I've had the opportunity to interact with you a number of times now. You're just an amazing human being. What is your superpower?
I am the queen of sleep. Sleep, resting, and I think also oftentimes we don't realize that sleep and rest are two different things. But my biggest superpower is that I have prioritized my rest. I have prioritized my sleep. And what I mean by that is that I schedule my naps daily. I mentioned that earlier at the top of the show. I also make sure that I have a bedtime ritual so that I can set myself up for the best sleep that I possibly can get. And let's be honest, I'm a through and through entrepreneur. So, we're in the season of starting the construction process at the airport. I'm in the middle of a fundraise. I'm also having to grow my business. Like, there's a lot of multiple hats that I'm wearing every day. And the only way I'm able to keep my sanity is that I'm tapping into my superpower, because I know that scientifically proven that whenever I get restorative sleep, it allows for my brain to repair cells. It allows for me to download the memories of the day. It allows for toxins to be removed from my body. So if I want to operate at high capacity every single day and have meaningful interactions, I have to make sure that I prioritize my rest and my sleep. And that really is what I do. It's a no-brainer for me. I had a conversation the other day with a good friend of mine, and she said, before Nap Bar, I used to be offended when you would put your phone on Do Not Disturb after a certain time at night, because I would call you and I knew I couldn't get you, but I knew you were over there starting your bedtime rituals. And, that's really what it takes. It just takes the discipline to prioritize our rest, so that we can get in and really truly tap our inner superpower to be the best human being that we possibly can be.
I wonder, this is a fascinating superpower. As you think about your experiences, can you identify a time where you could really connect between having made the priority to get the rest and sleep that you need to a particular success or outcome that you really value? Can you think of an example?
I sure can. The first thing that popped in my mind was, it was circa 2017. I was still working in corporate America. It was just not a good time. I was not having a good time. There was a lot of change that was happening. I was traveling, 75% of the time, working 85 plus hours a week. Still was taking my nap, but mentally, I just knew I wasn't in the best place. And on my birthday of that year, I consciously made the decision that I no longer was going to sleep with my phone on my bedside, on my nightstand. And the reason why I decided to do that is because I noticed my behavior shifted. Because I was in a busy season with work, because I was overwhelmed majority of the time, that the first thing I would do when I would open my eyes is reach for the phone, and I would look at my email. I would check my calendar. And let's just be honest about it, Devin. If I saw that I had a meeting first thing in the morning with someone that I necessarily didn't align with, it would throw off my morning. And so I committed that I would disengage with that phone in the morning and at night. So when I go to bed, when I'm ready for bed, the phone is nowhere in sight. So I'm not tempted to scroll. I'm not tempted to work. I am in my bedroom. I'm in my bed, and I am telling my body it is time for us to wind down and relax, and allow that melatonin to release naturally, so that we can have a holistic approach to getting into REM sleep, so we can get the best sleep of our lives.
As you think about sleep, you've been thinking about this deeply now for years and years. One of the great experts on sleep and rest. How would you coach the rest of us to start in that direction? I realize there are probably 100 things that we should be doing, and most of us aren't probably ready. But what are the little things maybe that make the big difference? What are the things we should strive? Maybe give us some guidance on learning to.
Yeah, I love that question. I absolutely love that question. I also coach and consult folks on the side, with their sleep. And one of the things that we always start with is my favorite rule. Is very easy. I refer to it as a 10-3-2-1-0 rule. And I encourage the client, say, hey, you're going to pick one of these things to do, and we're going to do it consistently for 45 days so we can make it a behavior. And then we're going to start tracking and doing certain things so that we can see the upward tick in your sleep. So the cheat code to that rule is 10 hours before you go to bed, you're cutting out your caffeine. No more caffeine, because a lot of people don't realize this, because I know people that say, oh, I could drink caffeine with dinner. I could have coffee with dinner. But then the next question is like, okay, well, are you waking up in the middle of the night? Are you waking up 3 to 4 times a week between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and can't get back to sleep? Now, I'm no doctor. You have to go and get diagnosed. I'm just here to educate and inform. But, those are symptoms and symptomatic to insomnia. And it could be that the caffeine is impacting that as well. So 10 hours before bed, you're cutting out your caffeine. The next one up is the 3 hours before bed rule. You're not intaking any food or alcohol. Alcohol is a huge stimulant, and folks will say, oh, well, after I have my glass of wine, I'm passing out. Well, same thing with the coffee. It will help you go to sleep, but you might wake up in the middle of the night. Now, the caveat to this, Devin, is that everybody is different. There's been a ton of research out there by Harvard Business Review and some of the other outlets And I have adopted this ideology that everybody's body is different. Yes, the CDC says we should get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night, but I've seen customer or clients who are getting 5 hours of sleep, and that's their sweet spot. I've also seen folks that are getting 10 hours a night, and they are operating like a superhero whenever they have that. So, it's also based on DNA. Some of the stuff you just can't fix. You just have to make sure that you're treating it. So that's 3 hours before bed, no food and no alcohol. The second is 2 hours before bed. This is where I usually become unpopular when I'm having this conversation. 2 hours before bed, you are cutting out your work. So a lot of folks are in their bedroom and they've got the laptop on, they've got some TV going, they're overly stimulated, and they wonder why they can't get to sleep in a timely manner. It's because your brain, you're allowing your brain to be overly stimulated, and it hasn't started to release melatonin, despite the fact that it's dark outside and you're also in your bedroom. Our brains are really, really interesting and super, super smart. So when it's dark outside, there's this thing called circadian rhythm. It's our master internal clock. And whenever you work a regular shift, this is the exception to the rule is our shift workers. But if you're working a normal 9 to 5 and it gets dark outside, your body is starting to tell you like, hey, it's dark outside. If it's wind down and it's cool in the space where we're in and there's not a lot of lighting, we're going to start to produce our melatonin and release that so we can get ready for sleep. But if you are working in your bed, the place where you're supposed to be asleep, your brain is going to realize that and think, oh, well, we're working in here. I guess we're not supposed to go to sleep. So 2 hours before bed, cut out your work. 1 hour before bedtime, this is also an unpopular item, stop scrolling. So no social media, no scrolling on Instagram, nothing that's, again, going to stimulate you, because that blue light, despite the fact that you can purchase the blue light glasses, it still doesn't 100% protect your eyes, because what happens when you see the blue light come in through your eyes, it signals to your brain that it's light outside now. Here's the reason why you might have an issue falling asleep, because you're up. And then the last but not least is my favorite one. This one took a while for me to master. Is 0 number of times you hit the snooze button. So the science and the idea behind this one is that whenever you hit the snooze button, oftentimes folks fall back to sleep. Sometimes you fall back into REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement. It's a deep sleep. And when your alarm goes off again and you kind of startled a little bit and you feel a little groggy, is because you went back into REM sleep. So when your alarm goes off, set it off, get up and get the day going. That's my best advice, Devin. Best advice. Pick one. Let's see what happens. Which one are you going to pick?
I'm going to work on 10 first, because
okay.
I'm sitting here now with this little cup of diet soda that I keep full all day long, and I've been cutting out my caffeine customarily, not religiously, but about 6 hours before bed. And
Okay.
I find myself waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning too often. So we're gonna try 10. We're gonna go to 10 and see if we can make that work.
I love it.
So great tip.
You have to keep me posted.
Listen,
you have to keep me posted.
Okay. All righty. Now, listen, as we get close to wrapping up here, I wonder if you take a minute and tell people how they can learn more about Nap Bar, how they can find one, how they can connect with you, how they can learn more about the crowdfunding campaign. Give us all the deets, okay?
Absolutely. So let's start with Nap Bar. Nap Bar, the website there is napbarnow.com. Also across the social media platforms, we're at Nap Bar HOU. So think Facebook, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn. For myself, if you're looking to connect with me, you can follow me. My website for my personal page is kogpassion.com. My handles on Instagram is KOGSpeaks. And if you're looking to get more information about our crowdfunding campaign on WeFunder, that's wefunder.com/napbar. And hey, don't scroll on our video at the top. It's we're talking about sleep, so we didn't want to put people to sleep. So hopefully it'll give you a good little chuckle.
That's great. Well, Khaliah, we're so glad that you took the time to be with us on the show. We love what you're doing, and we want to see you succeed. We want to see you thrive and prosper. We want to help you help us sleep better. So we definitely want to see you succeed. So we wish you all the luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Devin. And thank you for having such an
All
incredible
righty.
platform.
Thank you. Now let's do some good.